What's up, y'all? It's Alpha War Wins here, aka Alpha. I'm just here to give you guys a basic Warrior and Fury PvP guide. Um, okay, let's start with the talents here. Um, Normally you would use Warbringer, so when you charge, it stuns for uh, second and a half. If you're going against mages, monks, anything that would pretty much kite you, I would suggest using double time. You always want to use Enrage Regeneration. You want to use Sudden Death, always. I would use Shockwave for like cleave teams, but if you have someone that can like run away or always going to be at a distance, I would use Stormbolt just so you have a ranged stun. Use Mass Spell Reflect for mages, locks, druids, and boomkins. But if you're going against like melee cleave, I would use Safeguard. Um, Most of the time you want to use Blade Storm because it's only a minute cooldown. Get you while you're Blade Storm, you can't be CC'd at all. I personally like using Avatar sometimes just so you have that extra amount of damage. If you want to go in for like the kill, if you're playing with like a Feral or a Ret or something and you want to kill something really fast, I would suggest using Avatar. You always want to use Anger Management. So every 30 rage, you reduce the cooldown of pretty much all your main abilities by a second. Let's go over with the glyphs. Always use rude interruption if you're going against any cleave that you can or any comp that you can kick. I would use rude interruption because it increases your damage by 6 for 20 seconds. If you're using double time, I would suggest using Bull Rush. 15 additional rage when you charge. But if you're going to use Wardbringer, I would use Blitz, so you stun an additional 2 targets. If you're playing with a healer, I would use Mortal Strike, so when you affect a target with Mortal Strike, you get healed for additional 10%. If not, I would use Heroic Leap to increase your speed. Let's see. Let's go over with the macros. I use a charge macro. It charges a target, hamstrings them, so they're constantly slowed. Puts rend on them, which will bleed them. So let's just say you're going against a rogue or someone that can stealth. Just hit your one key, and it will put rend on them, and it will also cancel your blade storm. So if you need to cancel your blade storm, pummel, or cancel blade storm, execute, or something like that, just hit your one key or whatever you have charge bound to. All right, and I use a intimidating shout macro, which charges your focus and uses the ability, which will fear him. I use a burst macro. Here it is. It will pop recklessness, pop avatar, whichever one you're using. Uh, Cast blade storm and sweeping strikes, which will allow you to attack. Each attack you do attacks multiple targets. I use a pummel macro. I use a focus pummel macro just in case if you're close to a healer and he's healing and you're not clicked on him, just hit your focus macro real quick. Or you can use your normal macro, which will cancel your blade storm and target. Yeah, it will attack your. Oh wait, no, I use this one normally, and then this is the one I was clicking on. It will cancel blade storm and you can pummel somebody. So that is like really handy to use, guys. But that's it for my arms guide. Let me switch over to Fury real quick. All right, same thing goes with Warbringer and Double Time. You always want to use Sudden Death because it procs your execute. Same thing with the stuns. Same thing with the Safeguard and Mass Spell Reflect. You always want to use Blaze Storm as a Fury Warrior though because you have 2 weapons. You're gonna do more damage. Um, and it's only a 1 minute cooldown, so you can't really go wrong with that. It's going to do a lot of damage. I would use Siegebreaker because it's pretty much an execute. You can use it. Let's just say someone's at 200,000 health and they're casting a heal or something. Use that. It's going to pretty much almost hit them for 100k. Then you could charge them, which will stun them for a second, and then you can execute them, and they'll pretty much die every single time, guys. Every single time. For the glyphs, I use Bloodthirst, increases my Bloodthirst by 100%. It's really good. Increases your healing. Same thing with the Bull Rush or the Blitz, depending on which charge you use. And I would use either Enrage Regeneration or Heroic Leap, depending on what's your playstyle. But I use Enrage Speed because in Fury you're almost always enraged, so you're constantly going to be moving at 20% faster than you normally do. And for my Fury Burst, instead of just popping everything, it's just uh, Recklessness and Siegebreaker. So you're gonna just pop your damage boost and then Siegebreaker to target. And of course, when you take Siegebreaker, it's going to take away Intimidating Shout. So your macro will still stay the same, but instead of Intimidating Shouting them, you'll Siegebreaker them. So I like using that a lot if I don't have kick up or something and a healer's casting. I'll use that, hit the healer for a chunk, and then I'll continue hitting my DPS. Let's see, is that it? I think that's it, guys. But I'll show you what I mean with the damage. Charge the target, hit your one. And with the Fury, your one will also cast Wild Strike, so you don't have to bound Wild Strike to another key. You could just keep hitting one. You want to constantly hit Bloodthirst, Raging Blow whenever it comes up, and Wild Strikes whenever it's up. And then if you hit your burst, boom, hit the target. It's only going to hit for 70k outside of the arenas because this isn't PvP. But you want to hit everything as soon as it comes up. And then I'll show you what Blade Storm does. See, it hits everything for a lot. And this is, just think about it. If you hit someone for that much in arenas, it's going to hurt a lot, guys. And what I failed to mention, Arms and Fury, you either want to constantly be hitting Piercing Howl or Thunderclap, depending on which spec you use. I'll soon do a Glad Sands guide, but for now, I'm doing Arms and Fury until I can get the rest of my gear for Glad Sands. But if you guys like this video, please subscribe, like, share the video. Please comment below if you have any comments or questions. I'll happily answer them. But thanks for all the support, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for the view. Much love, always.